It's time for Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccr.com. Coach's Corner is brought to you by Todd's Electric, James Pharmacy, Lamb Motors, Avera, Hawaii Federal Credit Union, and Edward Jones Financial. Coach's Corner is also brought to you by Graham Tire, Kruger Contracting, CHS River Plains, Gales Gas, Bank West, and Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota. From the KCCR studios in Pierre, KCCR award-winning sports director, John Winkler.
And a good evening as we welcome you here inside the KCCR studios for another edition of Coach's Corner. John Winkler with you as we've got a busy show for you tonight. We've got Brandon Kusler, the Pierre Boys head coach, along with also Jim Wadeen, the head coach of the Hawaii Lady Capitals. We'll also be talking with some of those Capital players as well here in the program. And we'll also talk with Coach Sean Lewis, head coach of the Pierre Boys wrestling team, and then Joey Fisher, the Stanley County Boys basketball team. Tough couple of games the last time out for Stanley County. We'll talk with him as they get set for still a busy end of the week, as they have played a lot of games over the last couple of weeks. The last 2 weeks they've played a lot of games. So we'll talk all about that coming up here into the program. Looking forward to that here on KCCR. We just had Coach Steve Steele driving by the KCCR studios as well. We'll have more coming up with the Coach's Corner. We'll talk with Coach Brandon Kusler coming up next. You're listening to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
No one likes to have electrical problems, but when they happen, call Todd's Electric at 223-2518. With over 30 years of experience, Todd's Electric can handle any type of electrical problem, whether it's residential, commercial, or agriculture. Their knowledgeable staff knows and understands the importance of your home, business, or ag facility and are prepared to help. That number again is 223-2518. Todd's Electric Service, serving the Pierre-Fort Pierre area. Todd's Electric Service, the line to power. It takes hard work to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than just sports. It also goes for your financial goals. You work hard for your money. You deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. Your local Edward Jones financial advisor can help. If your investments aren't getting you closer to the win, visit edwardjones.com or stop by your local Pierre area Edward Jones office for a financial review. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now I'm playing for real.
Yeah, you're doing pretty good. What play should I call now? Maybe corner three.
He's hot. He is hot. Keep feeding that guy.
Now back to Coach's Corner with KCCR award-winning sports director, John Winkler.
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Joining me is Coach Brandon Kusler of the Pierre Boys basketball team. A big win last night on the road against Aberdeen Central. And Coach, let's jump back to that game last night. You get an 11-point win, a lot of good defense, a lot of good offense, and a lot of good to take away from that win.
That's exactly right. And I think going into it, we really had a goal in mind. Ideally, we were hoping 48 points was our goal, 12 a quarter. The boys, they knocked down a couple buckets in like the last minute, and they were all frustrated on the bench because that got them to about 51 points. So they were pretty. They rose to the occasion, certainly on the defensive end, and that was something. It seems so simple and so silly, but at the end of the day, your goal is to score more points than the other team, but that doesn't happen if you give up more points than you're scoring. And so, back to the basics of, hey, we've got to defend people. We've got to we're scoring at a decent clip right now. I love what we're doing. We're spreading the ball around. We've gotten some great production. You've got consistency with Luke and Dawson, and then different kids Corday, Caden Ahart, filled some roles last night, other guys that sprinkle in a couple of points here or there. But at the end of the day, we can score a lot of points, upper 50s, low 60s, but if we're giving up 60-plus points, we're still not winning. And so I think that was really an area of emphasis, and the boys embraced that last night, and you felt, there's still plenty of things that we can be working on defensively. This is a great start, though, to where we need to be going into a big stretch of games here.
And you're exactly right. A big stretch of games coming up, and regardless of Aberdeen Central's record, one that you wanted to get because their record was what it was at, but they're a much better team than what their record indicates. But being able to do that and being able to have that good defensive effort and a good game last night to then give you that confidence going into what will be a tough weekend against Harrisburg and O'Gorman and moving forward in the schedule, that's a big stepping point for this Governor team going into the weekend.
Exactly, and it was the last of our 3 road trips in a row. We had Tuesday, Thursday, Tuesday, all on the road, and that's it was a good test for us. Just coming away 2-1 from that stretch is solid, especially because our loss was against Brandon, and we felt like we didn't walk away from that feeling just that gut feeling of like, oh my gosh, where are we right now? We were right there with them. If we had a little bit different fourth quarter, could have been a different ball game. But I think the takeaways and the growth has been consistent and steady, and that's something that moving forward, there's so much parity across the board in AA right now that you've just got to be steadily improving, and we feel like we're there right now, and we've got to continue that and stay the course and trust that things will take care of themselves, but we've got to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves and primarily on that defensive end. But, getting back home will be really nice here for a couple of games this weekend, and being able to just, be in the comfort of sleeping in your own beds and all of that jazz. So, and just, of course, our crowd and our environment here will be nice to get home to.
Talking with Coach Brandon Kusler of the Pierre boys basketball team, and before we start looking ahead to this weekend of Harrisburg and O'Gorman, real quick too with the Aberdeen Central, Luke Olson scores 29 points, and sometimes you score 29 points and maybe it's a forced 29. You take a lot of shots, you get a lot of shots up, and you score 29. You shoot relatively okay. Luke Olson's night last night was not that way. It was he didn't take a whole lot of shots because he made everything that he put up there to get those 29 points. It was an impressive night shooting wise for Luke Olson.
And it was such a versatile night for him. I mean, he's a capable scorer in a lot of different levels. I mean, he knocked down some shots from the perimeter last night. He got his way to the hoop. He creates other things for his teammates as well, and he rebounds the basketball. I mean, his leadership on the floor is he's not so much of a vocal leader. He certainly leads with his voice when he needs to, but his composure out there and the way that he has a commanding presence on the floor. He's really our floor general, and you could tell, he was feeling it last night. He definitely had an advantage from a speed standpoint against anybody who is defending him, and he just makes plays happen. And that's, it's wonderful having a true point guard, and that is what he is, and we're very appreciative of that. And again, just that supporting cast. We had to joke with him though because he missed one free throw, so he could have had 30, but he missed one free throw. So we were, I believe, 9 for 10 from the line, which is great. I'd love to see us getting to the line a little bit more, but. Beggars can't be choosers. I'm okay with putting up 62 points and only getting to the line for 10 shots if we're still getting 62 points up and stuff. But, it's what Luke does. It's hard to put into words the value that he brings to the team, even when he isn't scoring as much. But it kind of seems a little goofy, but at times it's a quiet 29. I mean, he just kind of does it, and all of a sudden you look up and you're like, oh, he's at 20-plus points right now. All right. Nothing that we're going to complain about. But then there's other kids who we've really challenged with finding opportunities to give yourself a chance to get us some buckets. And that doesn't mean that it's within the rhythm of our offense. At times, of course, yes, being shot ready on the perimeter is absolutely what we need to do, and inside and being ready to go. But there's ways to score without the ball, and that's crashing the glass. That's giving ourselves second, third chance opportunities, and we've got a lot of those kids where it might not be showing up in the stat sheet that they're scoring that way, because they might not be the ones that are getting the bucket, but it certainly takes all 5 guys on the floor pursuing the ball on the offensive end, doing the dirty work, all of that in order to create some open areas for things to take place and for our creators to make things happen. So, just proud of overall the team effort and getting different kids stepping up at different times and doing whatever they need to for the team to get a win.
And again, talking with Coach Brandon Kusler of the Pierre boys basketball team. Win last night, now 4-6 in the season. There's been a lot of really tough games for this Governors squad. Some close games as well that they have not been able to pick up, but a really close games that they have played, some really good competition. And it doesn't stop going into the weekend now. 9-2 Harrisburg, 8-4 O'Gorman, back-to-back days on Friday and Saturday. Last year against this Harrisburg team, you're looking for, Luke Olson shoots the way he does in the game last night that he does on Friday. Already a better output against Harrisburg, because you guys you played a good game against Harrisburg last year, but shooting wise, nothing just seemed to want to fall for you guys against Harrisburg. But you get a chance against Harrisburg and O'Gorman, and some really big seed points up for grabs, but this Governor team not shying away at all against some good competition across the state.
Yeah, I think that's just that continued improvement each day that we have the opportunity, preparing ourselves to be peaking at the right moments. And we certainly, we're half of the way through right now with not a ton of time left for the next 10 games. So we need to certainly be each night. We don't have the practices anymore, the luxury of getting back to practice to be working on as much stuff. Of course, we've got a couple of days here to prepare. But part of that is recovery and getting their bodies right to be able to go then back-to-back nights this weekend. And so, it's one of those things that from here on out, our in-game adjustments, and that was outstanding last night. We tossed some different defenses out there at different times, and all of them responded extremely well to whatever the pressure we applied. And some of our trapping actions, we mixed up a little man and zone. There was a lot of different things. We're going to look at putting in a couple of other little wrinkles and specials here coming up just as we enter that second half of the season. We feel solid about where our offense is at right now. But of course, that's still always an emphasis of being aggressive and pushing the tempo and dictating things on both ends of the floor. And so, I didn't love our press last night. I think it can be better. We got out of it pretty quick. Credit Aberdeen for the way that they broke it early on, but that's something that we feel like we can apply, and it wasn't up to the standard that we expect last night. So that's certainly something that we need to get back to, especially with Harrisburg and O'Gorman coming in. They're a team. They're both teams that want to get up the floor and in transition, and we're going to have to do things in order to slow them down as much as possible.
Yeah, and going into these games, you mentioned just a little bit now, but what you've seen from this Harrisburg O'Gorman team that can really cause fits for any team, but for the Pierre Governors this weekend.
They both have a great outside presence shooting-wise, so limiting that as much as possible. I thought we did a great job last night. Brendan Phillips ended up with, I think it was about 14 points, but those all came down the stretch. I think going into the fourth quarter, he only had a couple of buckets, and he really is a primary scorer for them. And they scored 20 points in the fourth quarter last night. Otherwise, that almost doubled what their score was heading into the fourth quarter. So if we limit that a little bit, it's a different ballgame. But I thought that we did a good job of recognizing their guys who were getting hot at different times and slowing them down and limiting their action. And that's going to have to be the same thing this next weekend. O'Gorman had a rough little stretch last weekend against Roosevelt and Lincoln, but they'll have a week off to prepare for us. So we've got to be ready to go on Saturday for them, but nothing happens until we take care of Friday. And Harrisburg always comes in guns a-blazing. They'll be looking to push the tempo, getting downhill, looking to drive and kick as much as possible. And so we need to make sure that we're containing and continuing, again, just to be able to balance different defenses and toss a variety of things to keep teams teams on their toes and have to constantly be thinking about what needs to be done and how to adjust to that. So, and as soon as they make some adjustments, we test something else at them, and that's what we've got athletes who are willing and able to do that, and that's something that we look to continue to do more so in this second half of the season.
Again, we're talking with Coach Brandon Kusler of the Pierre boys basketball team. They play Friday and Saturday. Both games will be on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. A 7 o'clock tip-off Friday night against Harrisburg, a 3 o'clock tip-off against O'Gorman on Saturday. Real quick, Coach, before we get to our final question, starting to run out of time, but Super Bowl Sunday coming up next week Sunday, not this week, but the next week. Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles. I got to ask again, got to get the score prediction and the winner. I know I'm kind of put you on the spot real quick here with it, but who do you think wins, and who is what's the score going to be?
I just hope and pray it is not the Chiefs. So
Okay.
I am not a Chiefs fan. Anybody but the Chiefs, so that means it's the Eagles. And then I'm going to go with 34-28.
28. Okay, all right. So 34-28's a good game. That I like the score being a good offense and a good game.
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm. We got to see some scoring. I mean, let's not have a Super Bowl that's just a dogfight on the defensive end here. Let's get some scoring in there.
Yeah, we as much as there's a lot of teams that we don't like. There's a lot of people that don't like these teams in the Super Bowl. We at least want to see some kind of an entertaining game.
Yeah,
but so
absolutely.
All right, so there's the score, 34-28 for the Eagles, coming from Coach Brandon Kusler. So now, before we wrap things up, though, we got to get back to the basketball coming up this weekend. Biggest key overall for the Governors to get 2 wins or to play well, and whether that be 2 wins or not, but to play well, what's the biggest key for the Governors to be successful this weekend?
I think we've had some slower starts, and that was something that, I mean, we're still putting up a good amount of points, but I think we can have a little bit bigger of an emphasis on a strong start, hot start, and that starts with getting stops on the defensive end. So really getting our defense to be electric and then making plays happen on both ends of the floor.
Well, Coach, hey, I appreciate the time. As always, good talking to you. We've got a couple more of these before we get to the end of the regular season, as quickly as that regular season is coming to an end. But I appreciate the time, as always. Good luck this weekend. We'll be talking again soon.
Thank you.
Absolutely. That is Coach Brandon Kusler of the Pierre boys basketball team. Again, both those games Friday at 7 o'clock and Saturday at 3 o'clock, both games on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Back with more Coach's Corner after this here on KCCR and online at KCCRradio.com. KCCRradio.com. KCCR Radio.
Capital City Ford Lincoln Toyota is serving the central South Dakota community and beyond with a great selection of used vehicles. Local trades and program vehicles are available. New Toyotas and new Fords are arriving and selling before they even hit the lot. So don't wait. Stop in and find out what's coming. If you've been thinking about ordering a new Ford, stop in and sit down with one of our sales specialists today. Capital City Ford Lincoln Toyota at 518 East Sioux Avenue in Pierre. Call 605-224-7378 and visit CapitalCityFordToyota.com.
Building a home. It's the biggest investment most of us make in a lifetime. Not to mention, it's a decision that, well, you pretty much live with day and night. The quality of the workmanship stares back at you like a reflection. It also affects the value of your investment. Choosing the right contractor is critical. Kruger Contracting is that contractor. Call 222-2523. Quality workmanship and materials completed on time. Kruger Contracting. In a word, quality. Call 222-2523.
You're listening to Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota's sports leader, KCCR.
You like that? You like that?
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at KCCRradio.com. Joining me is Coach Jim Wadeen, but also joining me here in this segment will be Sophia Pashong and Elliot Birch and Callie Beam. We're first going to talk with the head coach and Coach Wadeen. And Coach, Saturday, a huge win against Aberdeen. First time in 12 years for this girls program to get a win. Overtime win, all the emotions going on the road, and one game over the weekend. I mean, how special was that win for this group this year?
It was just fantastic. We'd been kind of working up towards this moment and had the Aberdeen team kind of on our radar for quite a while, and it's what we've been practicing to get us that win, and ask the girls to really come out and demonstrate what they can do, and they answered on every level. So.
And of course, you still have 2 more games against Aberdeen, and that's not right on your radar right now because you got a couple weekends or at least a weekend before you play Aberdeen. But knowing that you got that first win and knowing what's upcoming the rest of the season, how important that win was for the confidence level of this girls too.
Yeah, that was a huge confidence booster for us, I believe. And I guess we'll see in 2 weeks when we go up against them again, because I know that they got their sights set on us this time. So.
Well, Mitchell's coming up on Friday and Saturday. You guys lost to them a couple weeks ago in Mitchell. What's going to be the difference? What do you think is the difference going into this weekend for the Capitals to make sure you get some points out of it, whether it be 2 wins, but just get some points out of these 2 games?
Yeah, we've got to play an aggressive offensive game, and we've got to play really conservative with our defenders as well. So that's going to be our key.
Well, I guess that was the key right there. I was going to talk to you at the end of this now, but I'm going to move on to our first girl that we're going to talk to, and Sophia Pashong. Sophia, you saw a lot of shots on Saturday, 6-5 win in overtime. From your perspective between the pipes, how fun was that game? How exciting was that win for the Capitals?
It was exciting is one way to put it. I was definitely worried, and it kind of sucks, when you let the tie goal in and 25 seconds left, but it's part of being a goalie, and you got to keep your head straight, and there's nothing else you can do about it. I knew when that puck went in, there was still a lot more game left. Like, we got an extra 10 minutes on the clock, and I just have to be big and got to be strong and make sure nothing goes by me again.
So for a goalie, too, and you see, some games you might see 20 shots, some games you might see 40 shots. The difference between those, yes, that's a lot of shots on the scoreboard, but as a goalie, how difficult is it to see 20, and also how difficult is it to see 40 shots in a game?
It really depends. Sometimes, we play Sioux Falls and you get 20 shots, and they are 20. Those could be easily goals, every 20 of them. This 40 we played against Aberdeen, maybe half of them were probably worth goals. Sometimes it's just low rebounds or just loose pucks that I end up covering. But even with such a high number, there's still 40 shots. That's still 40 down and ups every time, times a couple more, so...
Well, Mitchell, you guys are playing them this weekend, Friday and Saturday. Again, we mentioned you guys lost to them earlier in the season. From your perspective, too, being against this team at home now and Pink the Rink on Saturday, how important are these 2 games in your mind, too?
Pink the Rink is a phenomenal experience and event, so it's important that we go up and win these. And I think beating Aberdeen's definitely going to give us a nice ego booster and help change the course of the season. Hopefully we can just keep winning. We got to be able to come out strong, and I know my goalie abilities got to be up there too, because they're going to come out hard. They're going to keep wanting to win. It was a close game last time, and it's going to be a close one this time too.
Well, we got a couple girls here with us too. One's a defenseman, one's a forward. How important is it the defenseman and the forwards of being able to play defense around you and in front of you to help you out too this weekend?
It's incredibly important. We could have an awesome defensive game, but if we don't got the forwards pushing and trying to get that puck in the net, it doesn't matter. Because I wish I was perfect, but one's going to slip by. I just know it. But at the same time, defenders, you got to be strong. Elliot Birch, you got to be strong. Don't get beat. Don't leave me hanging. But we've also proven to have an awesome offense. So I think it's just we got to be in the right mindset, and we just got to keep pushing through.
Well, you've had a fantastic season so far, and I know these next couple weekends are going to be big. And as a senior, too, how much fun has this season been, and how much are you enjoying this last season with the Capitals?
Gosh, it's definitely one of the greatest ones out there, and I'm loving the fact that we get to play more games. It's truly just adding to the experience, and you get to play every team more than twice, which is great. And then I like to think of it as they might beat you twice, but you can still win the third time. There's still a chance you can show up and beat them, and having the games and just being with the girls a lot more this season just makes all the difference.
All right, and we're going to move on to our next girl, and Elliot Birch. And Elliot, Sophia just gave you a compliment, so we want to return the favor here and talk about your goalie, Sophia, and how, as a defenseman, it's a little bit easier to play defense when you know you got a goalie in Sophia.
God, I could just never do what Sophia does every game, every day, honestly. she stopped shots that I couldn't even imagine. I'd flinch in front of, like, the most muffin shot ever. Like, it could be an absolute whiff, and I could go just cover my eyes and, like, fall to the ground in fear. So what she does is just absolutely amazing, and she's just a great goalie and a great personnel on the team.
So let's go back to last Saturday and that overtime win against Aberdeen. In your mind, too, how much fun was it? How exciting was it? Take us through the overtime win for the Capitals.
God, I was a little nervous, I won't lie. Anytime anyone gets into overtime, it's always nerve-wracking. I played the entire fourth period. Like, I was out there for all 6 minutes, and I was really trying to just make sure that I didn't lose sight of the actual objective and, like, not try to push myself too much where I couldn't recover, because I knew that my team needed me back on defense in order to actually secure the win. And I really wanted it really, really, really bad.
Well, and then you guys get Mitchell this weekend, Friday and Saturday, a team that you're wanting to beat and to make sure you stay above them in the standings. How important are these, in your mind, too, how important are these games?
I mean, every game is honestly so important. Like, it all adds up in the end. I think we have improved so much, and I think last Mitchell game, it was a little bit of a fluke. Like, I think we weren't really all together. I know, like, tempers on the bench were kind of high, so I think if we really just lock it in a little bit and relax and have fun, we can actually secure that win against Mitchell.
Well, then also Pink the Rink coming up on Saturday. You know, obviously you get the first game on Friday, and then you get to have the festivities and all the fun of what Pink the Rink is and the great cause that is. But for you too, how exciting is it to play on Pink the Rink?
Pink the Rink is awesome. I think it's a really good booster in the middle of the season. We're coming off Christmas, and everyone is a little bit like settled into their place. People kind of stop bringing 100% to practice, so I think Pink the Rink is a really big booster for everyone, like their morale, like skating for people that you love and skating for like just supporting cancer in general. I think it's really great for everyone.
All right, we're going to move on to our last girl, and Callie Beam. And Callie, let's go back to Saturday again. You take us through that game for the Capitals get the win.
Well, in overtime, Jim said, "Black line, you're out." So I went over to Aubrey and Dakota, and I huddled us up, and I said, "Girls, we got to get this one. We got to win this one for everybody who's sitting in those stands for us." So we went out there, and we busted our butts, and we could barely even breathe, and we got on the bench. So then white line went out, and then we just went a few more shifts, and they got us a goal. So pretty glad.
How big is that? This is your first year with this girls team, but how big is that win, knowing what all the history of what Aberdeen has done in their girls team and everything? How big is that?
Well, Jim told us that the girls team hasn't beat Aberdeen in 12 years. I thought, wow, that's crazy. So when I got on that bench, I thought, I got to make this the first win since 12 years.
Well, and now Mitchell coming up this weekend. You didn't play the first time against Mitchell. So from your perspective on the bench of not being on the ice, what do you see that can be different for the Capitals, and what did you see a little bit from that first game?
I saw right away as we went out, we didn't have the intensity as we usually do, and our moods were sort of down. So this time I think I'm just going to tell the girls, we got it. We got to beat these girls. We're playing for people who have cancer and who died for cancer, so we got to make them proud.
Well, and you just mentioned, too, Pink the Rink on Saturday. How special is it for you to be playing on that night?
It's very special because I have loved ones and friends and family who are suffering from cancer, so I want to play hard for them and show them how much I care.
All right, any other final thoughts from these girls here, from any of you three girls, about this weekend, about how the season is going to this point? Anything else that you guys would like to add overall before we wrap up?
Oh, I know. We're going to get a good win this weekend.
Perfect. And Jim, final thoughts. Let's go back to it real quick. The biggest key for the Capitals to get 2 wins this weekend against Mitchell.
We're going to have an aggressive offense and a really strong defense and goaltender that can keep it out from between the pipes.
One more question, though. These three girls, I know that you can say a lot of good things about every girl on this team, but these three girls, especially talking to me on Coach's Corner, how special are these three girls?
It's really amazing. This entire group of girls is really fantastic. These three are standing right here are just a perfect representation of everybody we have on this team. So they're really special.
Well, Coach, hey, I appreciate the time. Girls, I appreciate the time. Good luck this weekend. Looking forward to these games, which both those games and every game from here on out will also be on Capital City Rock and on YouTube at Capital City Rock Sports. Guys, I appreciate it, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll be back with more Coach's Corner after this here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. KCCR Radio.
As community bankers, BankWest employees are deeply committed to supporting local causes, growing the local economy, and creating local opportunities. At a time when you can bank anywhere, we hope you choose BankWest. We'll be your financial partner for the long haul, helping you and your community achieve financial success. BankWest. Convenient, connected, committed. Member FDIC.
Hey you. Are you at a job that is fulfilling, has good benefits to support you or a family today, and retirement goes down the road? If you just said no, listen up. CHS River Plains is hiring operations personnel, drivers, and custom applicators at several locations. These come with a knockout affordable benefit package for you and the whole family. Apply to a job with CHS River Plains and up your benefits straight up. To apply, visit us online at chsriverplains.com or stop in at one of our locations. CHS is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, I'm just here so I don't get fined, so y'all can sit here and ask me all the questions y'all want to. I'm going to answer with the same answer, so y'all can shoot if y'all please.
This is Coach's Corner on your home for the Peer Governors, KCCR, and online at kccrradio.com.
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Join me as Coach Sean Lewis, Pierre Boys Wrestling team, as they inch closer to and get much closer to that state dual tournament. And we're closing in on the final month of the season before we get into the state tournament as well. And Coach, let's jump back into the East-West duels this past Saturday. You guys went 2-2. A lot of ups and downs in the duel. When you look at the final results of everything, what was the biggest takeaway from those East-West duels?
Biggest takeaway for me was, we have a lot of injuries going on in our lineup, and we're, not exempt from that. We've kind of really gotten lucky in the past couple of years with being exempt from injuries and really not having to deal with a bunch. And so it's like, well, now we're human, and, we're entrusting our backups to, get in there and take some spot, and ultimately we're this crew, young or not, they're getting a lot of experience through the year. And as we, move into the month of February, being young isn't an excuse anymore. We've got 3 months under our belt, just like everybody else. And so, we have to make some adjustments at a few different places with some individuals, and we, again, should be just fine, hopefully by the end of the year.
And getting those four duels in now, there wasn't a whole lot of guys that wrestled 4 times in that day on Saturday, but being able to get that in that duel sequence, because when the state duel tournament rolls around, and assuming you guys are there for that state duel tournament, it's going to be those 3 wrestling matches that you have to make sure that you're prepared to go for. How much does that help going into that state duel tournament?
I really think it's a huge advantage. I mean, any team who is at East-West knows exactly what they're getting into. Whether you're from the East or the West, you're getting 4 really good duels for the most part. I mean, I understand that, Spearfish had, about 5 kids that they used in the duel tournament, and so it made things a little bit different. But I mean, you're getting quality duels, and you're seeing that 4-round format where you've got to be able to get up for those duels. And it's also practice in our own gym with basically the exact same layout. So if by chance we do our deal here and are able to make state duels, it's in our house, it's the same format, and so it won't be anything that we haven't seen before.
Going into this week, you get a big duel against Brandon Valley on Thursday at home. Again, wins are what you want to see as a team. Wins are what you want to see individually. But that's another big contest. And not that the Governors are shying away from any big contests at all, or only looking for those easy contests. But it is another really good team coming up on Thursday.
Yeah, Brandon Valley, I think them and us, we have a lot of similarities. We lost a close one to Watertown. Then Watertown is missing, 2 kids. They turn around the next week and duel Brandon Valley. Brandon Valley beats Watertown, and I think all 3 teams are fairly similar. And so it's really just going to be, how do we match up? Which version of our kids shows up that day? And, hopefully, like I said, it's been a good rivalry and a good atmosphere the last couple of years. So I really don't expect, anything different. And then I'm being poked by my son that it's going to be quite a thing, and he thinks that because he's on Brandon Valley's coaching staff, he thinks that the little Padawan is going to come up and whoop on the Jedi Master. So I can't let that possibly happen.
So then, going off of that, obviously, the match will be the duel itself, but being able to then be on the opposite side of your son, how crazy is that? Thinking about that, I know we're not there for that Thursday duel, but thinking about it, how crazy is that to look over there and see such a familiar face? Thankfully, he's not wrestling against you guys.
Oh, dear Lord,
but he is coaching against you.
Yeah, no, this is going to be bragging rights always. I mean, we jab and joke about, anything. It doesn't matter if we're going bowling or, racing to the car sometimes. It's always been a competition. And I'm glad to see that, that love for wrestling and sport and everything that's still, airing apparent in him. And he, was in Sioux Falls and wanted to be able to help out with a program, and found a place that they also wanted him so early. I mean, most coaching staffs really don't take a kid, immediately out of high school, but he had a good relationship with a lot of their coaches, and they kind of knew exactly what he brought to the table. So it's been kind of neat to see him, get in that coaching realm, and then also, give me a call after practice, and we pick each other's brain about stuff. So, it's been really good. It's a blessing. We're just lucky he's able to do it.
And then next weekend, you guys go to Brookings for an individual tournament again, and this meat of the schedule, it does not slow down at all the rest of the year. You had that little bit of a lull at that first part of January, but it is really fast and furious, and a lot of guys, I know they're injured and they're trying to get back, but there's a lot of guys that are wrestling over these course of this week especially, but going into the next couple of weeks to be able to wrestle before the state duels.
Yeah, there's still quite a few matches, like you said, with 3 duels and 2 tournaments, and that's right before state duels, and then you get into regions and states. So you just, you sit out here and you trust in your staff, and that's why Casey Michelson is technically a part of our wrestling coaching staff. Is she doesn't get paid enough, and she's works her magic and is able to get kids back and get them back in good form and on pace and on track. And so the constant communication that we have with her and her with kids and parents is amazing. And hopefully we can really start to get a few of those guys sprinkled back in here in preparation for the latter part of the season.
Talking with Coach Sean Lewis of the Pure Boys wrestling team. I think we say this every single year, but we're at that point of the year again. It's kind of hard to believe that we're closing in the final month, and where we're sitting at right now and where the final date is, we're just about a month away from the end of a wrestling season. How it sneaks up on us just about every single year.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're going to blink and it's going to be over. You sit down and talk to kids, and if you were to tell them right now you have less than 20 practices left, of the season, and some of you for your entire career, their jaw would probably hit the floor. But the reality is, that's exactly where we're at. We're, fewer than 20 practices remaining, and, there's not a lot of extra technical stuff that we could be able to do inside of those 21 days or conditioning wise. So it kind of is what it is. We've got a few things to refine and hopefully re-gear and tweak, and then it's most of it's just mental strategy and believing in themselves from here on out.
And again, as we get closer to the end of this regular season for the duels, the dual state tournament coming up in about 3 weeks here in Pierre, there's a lot of really good teams. A lot of really good teams in the standings right now. You got to make sure you get in that top 10 to be able to have a shot to be in that top 8. And it's not an easy, you say top 10, well, easy for the Pierre Governors to do, or just any team to do. It's not so easy in this year's standings. There's a lot of really good teams that are going to be left out of the top 10 of those standings.
Yeah, definitely. There are going to be some really good teams that are left out of the top 10. I mean, you've got your 2-horse, big dog race with Sturgis and Aberdeen kind of at the top, and then, 3 through 10, and I'd even say, outside to a few more. There are just some really good, very evenly matched teams that could, quite frankly, on any night beat any of the other teams. So, I think if we were to go re-wrestle the Watertown duel, you could see a different score. We have Brandon Valley here, and, we could probably wrestle that duel 3 times and get 3 different scores. Our Harrisburg this past weekend looked really good, and we beat them early, so I'm sure they would say the same thing, that hey, we could re-wrestle that duel and get a different score. And you probably could. You just got to make sure that on the night that you have them, you're just you're the better prepared and the better mentally ready team on that night.
And that's the thing is, how much do you play it up in before duels that guys are going to go out and do their job, whether it be avoiding a pin or making sure they get that pin for the extra points and whatever their job might be. How much do you play that up to maybe add a little bit of pressure? Maybe you don't want to put that pressure on the guys. How do you handle the intensity and knowing how important all these duels are?
Well, I know how important they are. I've communicated how important a lot of these are, and if I had the magic answer on that, I would, hopefully be in the Hall of Fame somewhere. But we've worked on it. We've put the kids up to the challenge. We flat out told them, we win the Watertown duel, we're probably in the dual state tournament. Same for this weekend. And they're like, well, we get another opportunity at it. If by chance we beat Stevens, we're probably solidified to be in the dual state tournament. And, we're 0 for 2 on our big opportunities, or really, 1 for 3. We needed the Harrisburg one as well. But, now we're going to get another crack at, hey, you win this duel, you're pretty much going to solidify yourself within the top 8. And so, if we can go out and have a good showing against Brandon Valley, and like I said, it's a whole process of getting healthy and peaking and a lot of other things, that go into it. But, we're going to be ready. I think the kids know exactly what's on the line. We've talked about it. We've been very transparent with the kids, and, we've come up a match or 2 short. So we just got to make sure that on Thursday night that doesn't happen.
Again, talking with Coach Sean Lewis of the Pure Boys Wrestling Team, we're going to transition away as we're starting to run out of time here. We got to go now to the NFL football Super Bowl coming up. It's going to be on KCCR here in a week and a half on that Sunday night or Sunday evening. The Eagles and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, and I should have went back and looked to see what your score prediction was 2 years ago on if the Chiefs or Eagles, who you picked and what the score was. But you get to do it again this year. I need to know the score and the winner of this year's game.
Well, I know last time I did pick the winner. I had picked the Chiefs in the last one because I'm not an Eagles fan. And I do believe I was either the closest score or had the score or I was in the mix. But outside of really wanting to boycott this year's Super Bowl, which is kind of the fence post that I'm sitting on, I was just, my heart and soul was invested in the Bills, even though I'm not a Bills fan, and just finally being able to break it and get in and, be able to do the thing. I think most of America was rooting for them. And, unfortunately, there's about 5 to 7 guys in black and white stripes that weren't rooting for them, just to poke the bear a little bit on there. But no, I'm a huge Penn State fan. Saquon Barkley is still one of my favorite players. I'm absolutely still heartbroken that Dallas refused to go after him in free agency. And then to see him go from the Giants and a team that I don't like in the same division to the Eagles, the other team that I really don't like in the division, was sad. But the Eagles are fun to watch. I just think they're reminiscent of old school football, going back to having a run-based game rather than to sling the whole thing over. So me being a fan of traditional football, I'm going Eagles over the Chefs. I'm going to go 35-17 in a butt whooping because I want it to happen real bad.
Wow, 35-17.
35-17.
So there is Coach Lewis with the 35-17 Eagles. I think over all the years that I've had you pick, which has probably been like 5 or 6, I would think maybe you've missed the winning team by one of the 5 or 6 times I've had you do it.
Yeah, and I've been really close on the score the majority of the time. So
and that is the truth. That Sean Lewis has been the closest out of everybody, consistently the closest out of anybody. So, not saying that that's exactly how it's going to be, but history has tracked its way pretty good for Coach Lewis.
If you look at the games, the AFC Championship game, the Chiefs really struggled when the Bills were running the ball. And then, unfortunately, the Bills, for, again, whatever reason, just kind of got away from it at times. And I think that the ability of both the quarterback and Saquon, being able to just get out and in the mix. And then also that defensive line for the Eagles is no joke. The pass rush that they put on consistently against the Commanders really, made them just not be able to sit and accomplish anything. I think they had no passes over like 20 yards or whatever in the game, which is kind of an unreal stat. that they had. And so I was really impressed by the speed of their defensive line, their ability to cover, and like I said, in their run game. So that's the basis for my decision.
Well, there is that the prediction that the Eagles will beat the Chiefs 35-17.
And so, nobody's three-peated. I can't pick that. I'm going to go with history on my side as well.
That is also true, too.
And they were trying to coin it as a Chiefs-Pete, and they're already trying to coin and patent all these terms, and I'm not on board for it. Sorry, Chiefs fans.
Well, but before we anger the Chiefs fans any longer, we'll go back to wrestling here. That duel against Brandon Valley coming up on Thursday. That next one for you. The biggest key for the Governors to make sure they get that dual win on Thursday night.
Everybody doing their job. They're gonna have a bunch of guys. It's gonna be close one way or the other. We have to come out. We have to be excited about what it is that we're doing, and we have to perform. And some of that is battling through illness, injuries, sickness, and just being able to step on the mat and performing when you're less than 100%, and just knowing that that's still better than somebody else's. And once you believe that, that's a hard thing to ever take away from you. So as long as we can believe it, I think it's definitely doable.
Well, Coach, I appreciate the time as always. Good luck Thursday. Good luck this weekend, and we'll be talking to you in a couple weeks.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
That's head coach Sean Lewis of the Pierre Govs Wrestling Team. We'll be back with more of Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
Score big on your next vehicle purchase with Lamb Motor Company in Oneida and Gettysburg, Lamb Chevrolet and Implement in Oneida, and Lamb Auto Sales in Pierre. Check out their large selection of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs at any one of their locations, or go online to lambmotor.com. That's LAMBMOTOR.com. Or give them a call today at 800-952-2222. Lamb Motor Company of Oneida and Gettysburg, Lamb Chevrolet and Implement in Oneida, and Lamb Auto Sales in Pierre.
This fall, take some time to think about your future while the leaves make their way down to earth and the last sunset of summer leaves us with an autumn chill. It's time to grab the nearest foam finger and break out the face paint. Rush the stands with First Dakota National Bank and forget how to blink. Fall sports are back with jaw-dropping plays, an electric atmosphere, and epic scores. Make some noise with First Dakota National Bank. Open a new account online today at firstdakotanationalbank.com. Member FDIC.
That's a clown question, bro.
You're listening to Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
As we welcome back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Join me as Coach Joey Fisher of the Stanley County Buffaloes, who have got to have a lot of bags under their eyes right now. And Coach, I know you're not going to make excuses and all of that stuff, and we'll talk about last night's game, and we'll talk, but real quick, this has been a horrid stretch of amount of games to be played in a short amount of days, and you're still not done because you still got tomorrow and Saturday before you just get to the end of the week, but then you're still playing Tuesday, Thursday, and then you finally will get a little bit of a break. But you guys have had a lot of games in a lot of days, in a short amount of days. How difficult is it to manage guys' legs, manage guys' their bodies? You're dealing with sickness too. How difficult has it been over the course of the last 2 weeks? And that's on top of winning a Jones County tournament. So you're still winning a lot of basketball games, but just how difficult has this stretch been with the amount of good teams you're playing in the short amount of days?
It's definitely been tough, to say the least. We came off the highest to highs, winning the Jones County Invitational 3 games in 3 days, and that was something that we were really happy about. We were hoping that would kind of fuel us a little bit, and even that Jones County game, we followed it up. We played Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we went right into that Tuesday, and played Jones County. I thought we played them really well, and then we went Friday, Saturday, and it's like I didn't think we played our best Friday against Potter County, and I think that that tiredness kind of caught up to us a little bit, and we were able to come from behind in that one and win. And then like you said, I'm not going to make excuses. We didn't. Eagle Butte played really well on Saturday, and they outplayed us. Did we miss a lot of shots? Yeah, but like defensively, we didn't play to our potential or what we expect, our standard. And offensively, we missed some shots. We were down, I think, 14 in the third. We cut it to 4, and I just think, we kind of got to that point where we hit that wall. But, it's high school basketball. Teams are going to have a lot of games scheduled together, so we can't really use that as an excuse. But, it's a lot of games in a lot of days, so you don't necessarily have as much time to prep. But, we're hoping that our experience and our maturity is going to be able to help us in that aspect a little bit.
And in last night's game against Sully Buttes, a 3-point loss. The like you said, the Shining Eagle Butte game, it's a 13-point loss at the end of the game, but you guys really battled back and had to battle back the entire game. And it was just, 1 point, a guy was trying to get a rebound for Shining Eagle Butte and just tipped it up in the air and it went in. And again, you mentioned it too. You're not making excuses, but boy, some of those things that happen in a game where you're going, okay, it just can't be our night. If we're not making the shots that we normally make, they're putting in shots that just happen to be a rebound that's just tipped up in the air and just falls through. It looked like, it was a loose ball that just bounced into the basket, and it just, those things happen, of course, during the season. It just right now maybe I wouldn't say is elevated, but just with the amount of games that you've played, the fatigue starts to see a little bit more of that too. That those plays again. It's just how the nature of the beast is. But, boy, at some point you got to sit there and say, all right, we're giving it to that team. But also, boy, those are some really bad breaks that are going against us right now.
Yeah, we had a couple back breakers. Like you said, the Eagle Butte one, we cut it to 4. Eddie hit a tough shot, and they get a lucky tip in to extend it to 6 going into the 4th. And then first possession, we turn it over on a moving screen, and it's like, and then they come down and they hit a 3, so it goes from a 4-point game, it's a 5-point swing right there, and that was kind of a backbreaker in that. We still played hard, and our efforts never really in question, but it's, the couple backbreaking moments, and then, like even last night, with Paxton fouling out with 5 minutes, and then not having Eddie because he was out with sickness, and, we battled until the buzzer, and, we were a little upset with last night just because, we felt like we'd really worked hard to get to that point, and then just a miscommunication and a wide open 3 and they knocked it down, and credit to them. Sully Buttes played really well, but just like you said, a couple of those back-breaking moments, and some of it might be because of fatigue, but it's like we're not gonna blame that either. We got to be. You gotta really focus on your communication. When you're in those moments where you don't think you got anything left, you really got to rely on the guys around you. Your communication, and we just had a miscommunication, and we're going to learn from it, and we're going to keep getting better.
And this team, this Staley County team now at 10-3. You've faced a lot of really good competition. There's a lot of teams that are sitting at 500 or above. Maybe some that can get back over that 500 mark before the end of the season to help you guys with seed points. But there's been a lot of really good games and really good teams that you have faced to this point, and which has helped. These losses for Shining Eagle Butte and Sully Buttes. One, there's some good teams that you're losing to, but also just in fact that in other years where Staley County has had some really good teams, you haven't had the help of the seed points. Other teams, that they've not had they've just been below 500. The seed points aren't there. Right now, the seed points are there because you're facing a lot, and you're going to see some more, especially coming up on Saturday against Unity Christian that is outside the state. The Staley County team is really battle-tested with some really good teams so far.
Yep, and that's one thing. Is like we've won against some really good teams, and that's why we're not. It's not time to hit the panic button. It's not like we're winning against teams that maybe aren't as great, and then we're losing to teams that are not great. Well, like Sully Buttes is going to win a lot of games this year. Brian does a really nice job with them, and the Whittler kid does a really good job. That was one thing we were happy with last night was we really felt like we took him out of it. He had 14 points, 1 in the second half, but it's like the game plan was kind of to limit him and make the other guys beat us, and they did a good job. But it's like you said, we've lost to 3 really good teams in Winter, Sully Buttes, and Eagle Butte. So it's like, but like our schedule doesn't get any easier. So it's like, we're going to have opportunities there to earn those seed points back, but we just got to go on, do the fundamental stuff and do what's made us successful through those first 10 games and, try to eliminate a couple of the bad habits that we have.
Crow Creek is your next opponent coming up on Thursday as we talk with Joey Fisher of the Stanley County Buffaloes. They're 5-9, but a region opponent, and that's always a difficult challenge, regardless of record. Crow Creek is a tough team, and especially when you're talking about a region matchup, 6A region matchup. It's going to be a dogfight again. What do you expect from Crow Creek on Thursday?
Crow Creek graduated a lot of dudes last year. I think they ended up having 6 or 7 seniors, but like I said, the one thing I always talk about is, that experience in high school basketball is something you can't really, measure. And it's like you get a young team, so they'll start 1 senior and 3 freshmen and a sophomore. But it's like the more games you play, you only continue to get more confident. They're not freshmen out there in game one. I mean, they're going to be playing their 15th game tomorrow, so it's like they're getting more confident every time they get out there. And it's like, a confident team's a dangerous team, regardless of record. So, we know we're going to have to go on. We're going to have to, first of all, we're going to have to play defense, and that's one thing we feel like we've done a really good job of. Even last night losing, like we held them to 43 points. So we know the defense end has to be there, but then most importantly, we got to make shots. That's one thing we really haven't done well. I would say even the last 3 games, like against Potter County, we didn't shoot well. Eagle Butte, we really didn't, and then last night we just struggled to shoot. Like you said, the fatigue might play into that. Not having Eddie last night definitely hurt that a little bit too. But we got to knock down shots, and then we got to take care of it on the defense end because they're going to knock down shots, so we have to be able to match them.
And you mentioned, too, being able to knock down some shots. This is a really good Stanley County offensive team when shooting well. And that's not a saying that, well, you're going to shoot well once every 5 or 6 games. This is more of an anomaly of maybe not shooting the ball well right now for Stanley County because of how good, I talk about the three-headed monster of Caden Montana, Paxton Deal, and Eddie Duffy. It's not just those 3 guys, but they do a lot. But this is a really good Stanley County offense that is more trying to get back to where they are and shooting the ball well, not so much saying, we shot the ball well, now we're seeing this team come back down to earth. That's not the case. You guys are going to get back there with the offense that you have.
Yep, and it's like we say, we just got to stay the course. We hit a little bump in the road. Maybe a game we could have won, but it's like it's not the end of the year. I would rather this happen right now, games 11 and 12 or 12 and 13, than game 21, and then you're done. So it's like, did it happen at a good time for us? For sure, because now we can make those adjustments. We can make those fixes to where maybe we get some more higher percentage looks for our guys so they can see the ball go through, and then that's going to open it up. So, I think it came at a good time. I think it gives us kind of a little bit of a gut check too. Like, hey, if we want to get to where we go, like, we got to lock in and we got to start playing our best right now, and then carry that through into February, rest of February, and then into March.
Well, and on February, I know you're not looking to pass Crow Creek by any means, but Saturday's game against Unity Christian out of Iowa, their record on the website, on the state website, shows that they're 12-3, a really good team. You're playing the Sanford Pentagon, which is maybe an unusual atmosphere for an unusual court for some of these guys. Maybe they've played there in the summertime, but playing for Stanley County, playing at high school game, that might be a different court for them to see at the Sanford Pentagon. But they're 12-3. They're a really good team. You guys are a team that wants to go face a lot of good competition. You're not shying away from it. Do you know anything about this team? Is it something that you're going to be looking at film maybe at the end of the game tomorrow night after Crow Creek, you turn your attention to them? How much emphasis do you put into the game plan against Unity Christian, more so than saying, hey, let's go out and play Stanley County basketball, not worry about what they do well and what they don't do well. We'll make those adjustments when we need to. How much do you, because you're not going to see them again after Saturday's game, how much emphasis do you put into the game plan against Unity Christian, and more so than just Stanley County?
I'm always one that likes preparation, so I reached out to a couple coaches and got some film on them already. And we'll start looking at that, Thursday night, and then we'll do our same scouting report based on what we've seen, and just so we have an idea of what we're going to see, so we don't go out there, with no idea. But from the little bit I have seen, they're a really good team. They're put together. They got 2 nice guards that really complement each other, and they've got some really strong post players that strong, and they do a really good job. So, it's going to be a really good test for us in a really cool environment. That's where you want to get. You want to play really good teams in Sioux Falls and, those big venues if you want to make it to a state tournament. So I think it's going to be a really good experience for our guys, regardless of what's going to happen. If we go play our style, like I said, I'll take our guys against anybody. We just got to go out and execute. But, we'll look into them, and, like I said, they're having a really nice season, so they're going to come in really confident, just like our guys. So should be a good game.
And I think for the folks that have watched Stanley County or keep up with Stanley County, or even if you're just kind of tuning in a little bit to Stanley County and seeing maybe them win some games, this is this means a lot to, just the game itself. It's not just anybody that can go play the Sanford, the Heritage Classic. You got to be a good team. You want to be a good team to play in that Heritage Classic because you're going to face some really good teams. This says a lot about what Stanley County basketball from last year to this year, from the last couple of years to this year. Stanley County earns this spot to be at the Heritage Classic, and it's not something that, for fans that say, oh, they're going to go play in Sioux Falls. This is a big deal for Stanley County, right?
Yeah, it's been a while since Stanley County, boys basketball has gone to a classic. It's a lot of these are invites only, and they only select a few teams each year, and it's an honor. It's something that we just look at and just take for granted. It's like we put in the work to get an opportunity to be able to go play in this venue, in this atmosphere, and it's something that you should be excited about. It's something that we should look forward to, and the community, they're like, oh, boys are playing in Sioux Falls, and that's an awesome opportunity. So, it is a big deal, and we're going to not look at it as bigger than it is. It's another regular season game, but, at the same time, you got to realize, enjoy that you're here and that you've earned this opportunity, but now you got to go out and earn, you got to go out and earn the win. You got to go out and earn everything that you get, so.
We're kind of coming close on time here, so I got 2 more questions. First one is, I'm going to put you on the spot, Super Bowl prediction. Since we won't talk next weekend, or next week, we got the Super Bowl prediction, Kansas City Chiefs, Philadelphia Eagles. Who wins, and what's the score going to be, Joey?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'm going to go Eagles 28-24.
Eagles 28-24. All right, so we're kind of in a spot where everybody's picking the Eagles right now. All the coaches here are picking Eagles to win the Super Bowl. So 28-24 is your score. All right, I like it. I think that's a good score to have for the game. It's hard to really predict a blowout by any means, especially when it gets to the Super Bowl. All right, and before we wrap up, I wish we had a little bit more time to expound on the prediction too, but we'll go back to Crow Creek tomorrow, and then Saturday, kind of get an overview. The biggest key, for Stanley County to get the win against Crow Creek tomorrow night, and then have a successful day on Saturday. Biggest key for Stanley County to make that happen.
For Crow Creek, I think the biggest thing is we just got to finish possessions. That's one thing we haven't done. We've given up some second chance opportunities, and we haven't finished at the rim, so really finishing possessions against Crow Creek is going to be key because we know they're going to score. And then Saturday against Unity Christian, biggest key there is we got to match their physicality. They're a very physical basketball team, and they like to get teams to play to their style. Well, we have to match that physicality, and we have to play our style of basketball and play Buffalo basketball, and that's gonna make a big difference for us.
Well, Coach, I appreciate the time. As always, it's good talking to you. Looking forward to the next stretch of games for Stanley County and some time off for the Buffs to get some rest, too, before the stretch run of the season. But, Coach, I appreciate the time. Good luck on Thursday. Safe travels Saturday. Good luck as well there. And looking forward to talking to you again soon.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. That is head coach Joey Fisher of the Stanley County Buffaloes. We'll return with more Coach's Corner after this here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. KCCRradio.com. KCCR Radio.
Most of us already know that Gales Gas of Pierre is the place to call for propane. They offer an automatic fill plan so you never have to worry about running out of propane. They accept debit and credit payments or a budget payment plan to spread out the cost throughout the year so you never have surprises when you get your bill. For delivery, convenience, and great customer service, call Gales Gas at 224-5518. That's Gales Gas at 224-5518.
Look, it's no secret that owning a vehicle can cause a lot of stress, and they get a lot of wear and tear on them through every season. Graham Tire wants you to know that you can trust them with any problem that you have with your vehicle. They have fully trained ASE certified mechanics on staff, ready to handle it for you. From brakes and bearings to alignments and front ends. Let their experience work for you. Over 50 years combined means you can count on them. So if it's time for a transmission flush or even a simple oil change, the only name you need to know is Graham Tire, 421 West Sioux Avenue in Pierre.
People helping people.
Have you ever wondered what the benefits are of becoming a Owyhee Federal Credit Union member? At Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we reinvest profits in you. We do this in the form of lower interest rates, higher dividends, and low to no fees. So come check us out or come in at 221 East Pleasant Drive in Pierre, because at Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we treat our members like they own the place because, well, they do.
Owyhee Federal Credit Union.
At
At Shane's Pharmacy, your healthcare is important, and Shane wants to be the pharmacist to take care of you. Shane's Pharmacy will make sure your prescriptions are filled in a timely manner, they will answer your questions, and they will even deliver to your home or office. Call 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy, the pharmacy you know and trust. The number again is 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy in Fort Pierre, proud to support high school athletics.
Let me talk to you.
You're listening to Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota's sports leader, KCCR.
Yeah.
And we welcome you back inside the KCCR studios to wrap up another Coach's Corner as we move into the month of February. We've got 4 shows remaining after tonight. Once we're done here, we got 4 shows remaining before we break for the spring and summertime and would return in the fall. But we want to thank our coaches, Coach Brandon Kusser of the Pierre boys basketball team, Jim Wadeen, the head coach of the Wyatt Capitals, along with also Elliot Birch, Sophia Pashong, and Callie Beam, who we talked to earlier, along with also saying thanks to Sean Lewis, the head coach of the Pierre boys wrestling team, and Joey Fisher of the Stanley County boys basketball team, as they again continue. All 4 of these teams that are in action this weekend have a busy stretch. Stanley County and the Pierre boys wrestling, along with the Pierre girls wrestling, but Stanley County playing tomorrow night. Also this weekend as well, Wyatt Capitals have Pink the Rink coming up on Saturday. They'll play Friday and Saturday, and the Pierre boys also playing Friday and Saturday. So we've got plenty here on KCCR and Capital City Rock, and also on YouTube at KCCR Sports, Capital City Rock Sports, and the Sully Beats will be in action as well, as they will have a couple of doubleheaders over the next two doubleheaders in the next 3 days on Thursday and Saturday, and those are on Country 95.3 and on YouTube at Country 95.3 Sports. Again, thanks to our coaches. Same time, same place, next week, Wednesday, right here on KCCR, online at kccrradio.com, starting at 5:30. And, of course, you can catch any of those shows that you might miss on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Have a good rest of your Wednesday. We'll see you next week, Wednesday, right here on KCCR.
You've been listening to Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccr.com. Coach's Corner is brought to you by Todd's Electric, Shane's Pharmacy, Lamb Motors, Avera, Oahe Federal Credit Union, Edward Jones Financial, Graham Tire, Kruger Contracting, CHS River Plains, Gales Gas, Bank West, and Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota. To hear the show again, head to YouTube at KCCR Sports for shows at any time. This has been a special presentation of Riverfront Broadcasting Sports, Central South Dakota's sports leader.